Capture Commission has made an application with the High Court in Pretoria to extend its December deadline by a further 2 months. The inquiry's chairperson, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, who's currently the country's acting Chief Justice, says the Commission will only be able to furnish President Cyril Ramaphosa with a report in 3 parts. The first part is to be handed in at the end of this month, the second in January, and the final part is due on the President's desk according to the Commission's timeline outlined today by the end of February 2022. But Zondo, who's been granted a series of extensions, says they will not request any additional funding for this process. He's also said that the President understands the Commission's position. Well, let's speak more about this, then get your reaction from the DA's Shadow Minister for Justice and Correctional Services, Adv Glynnis Breytenbach, a member of the Portfolio Committee that sees with issues related to justice in this country. Good to see you, Glynnis. So is this one extension too many? One more extension too many?
Oh, it's good evening and good evening to everybody. It's disappointing. You know, everybody in the country has been waiting a long time for this report. That's important. We've been gripped with this evidence led before the Commission for the last 3 years, and you know, it's riveting stuff. It's the kind of theft and larceny, corruption, racketeering enterprises that movies are made of, and it's time for the National Prosecuting Authority to get their hands on that report and start building cases and prosecuting these people. You know, the time for that is already past, really. The sooner they can start, the better. So it's disappointing that the report's not going to be ready. You know, initially we did suggest that Justice Zondo give some consideration to issuing interim reports. So as he finished a particular arm of evidence of investigation of the Commission, to issue an interim report on that particular issue, so that you know, that work could be started on that. He's chosen not to do that, and that has, in our view, led to some of these requests for extensions. There's now a huge body of work that needs to be dealt with, and you know, time is running out. We're at the end of December, and they clearly are not ready. So we're really happy about the interim reports, but you know, we'd like to see the result.
And what the State Capture Commission of Inquiry says in its statement today is that it's done enough work to be able to publish the first volume, shall we call it, of its work. But as far as work streams related to some SOE topics, that has not been completed, and that rushing that would, to a degree, compromise the final report. Sympathetic as people may be, should that assessment not have been made sooner and confirmed sooner? Because as we sit today, it's the 21st of December, and this is supposed to be in at the end of the month.
Yeah, you know, with the amount of work that I'm assuming there is to do, and I'm sure it's a staggering amount of work. But you know, it's not a surprise that it's a staggering amount of work, and they've been working with it for some time. So yes, I agree that, you know, it should have been foreseen perhaps earlier along the line, that the time was running out, and you know, different resources prioritized perhaps differently in order to wrap up these different streams, so that, you know, the report could be ready at this stage of the month, you know, of the final month, to be asking for an extension appears a little haphazard, but you know, one must bear in mind that there's a huge body of work that needs to be dealt with.
And the Commission also says that the chairperson, Justice Zondo, has discussed this with the President, and that the President understands the Commission's position. What other choice did he have?
Well, none. You know, it's an impossibility. If the report isn't ready, the report isn't ready, and it's no good insisting upon a report that is not properly finished off, not, you know, properly attended to. So it's in the interest of everybody, the President, in the interest of South African citizens, that the 2 interim reports and the final report are properly, you know, given proper attention, that they're properly finalized, that they're properly finished off with all their references in place. So yes, it is. There is no choice. One must wait. It is a little disappointing. I think we were all looking forward to seeing that report.
You mentioned disappointment when the State Capture Commission of Inquiry was set up, even when the report by the Public Protector recommended its establishment, there was a great deal of, shall we say, optimism that it would uncover certain rot in SOEs and government departments and name people who were involved in the hollowing out of the public service in this country. Things then began to change as we got a sense of the cost, the price tag for the Commission, and the multiple requests for extensions. How much do you worry that the extensions, including this latest application, will compromise the integrity of the report in the eyes of the public?
Well, I don't think that it will compromise the integrity of the report in the eyes of the public. I think everybody, having lived with the Commission for the last few years and seen the kind of testimony that has been given, the kind of evidence that has been made available, it is a staggering body of work. So while I think that time could have been better prioritized, I suppose it's easy for me to take an armchair approach. I think they were all, there were time constraints for everybody on the Commission. Money was always an object. It was never, just not an object. And so I suppose, their priorities had to be different. So yes, I don't think it will compromise the integrity of the report in the eyes of the public, but I do think that the public is A, impatient, and B, entitled to see the results of the work of that Commission, and more importantly, to see consequences now as a result of the Commission.
So final question then, do you think we'll still be sitting here 10 years from now discussing the implementation of whatever is in this report, and perhaps even prosecutions, looking at just the pace and the fact that some of the people who were named in the hearings have already said, excuse me, I've done no wrong?
Yeah, I sincerely hope that that will not be the case. It will be entirely unacceptable if prosecutions do not follow upon the finalization of this report. And it will be entirely unacceptable if they don't follow within a very reasonable period of time. To shift this onto the never-never system and to investigate to the nth degree, while this is this evidence cannot be used as evidence in court right now. It needs to be converted into admissible evidence. A lot of the legwork has been done, and a lot of the staff members of the Zondo Commission are going to be moved across to the National Prosecuting Authority, so there can be no excuse for any tardiness in this regard, and we should be seeing serious prosecutions in a very reasonable space of time.
Advocate Glynnis Breytenbach, DA Member of Parliament, who also sits on the Justice Portfolio Committee in Parliament. Good to speak to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.